Hi friends, how you doing? I'm host Eric, the one they talking about. Eric tried to roll the dice and just crapped out. Today I've decided to provide for you everything all at once. I'm not gonna hold anything back. I'm not gonna wait till later. I'm just gonna be everything you need to know about everything all at once right now. I hope that's okay with everybody. It should be because it's better that way. Just like every sandwich is made better by Miracle Whip. You know what I'm saying. Nobody can think of a sandwich that's not made better by Miracle Whip at any rate. I seem to be having a little bit of trouble, maybe because of this media source in the background. It's too robust a thing for my meow. That's quite possibly the case. Let me make it smaller. Right? That's making me smaller. That's not making this smaller. Silly Eric. Silly Eric. There. Maybe this will help now. Does that make it better? I think it might. I think we might be doing a better job now. We may even be winning the award for best job ever. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how difficult it is to win that award. Anyway, now that I'm providing you everything all at once, things are really coming together in your life. Before you were confused, petrified. You didn't know, by my side. But now, I've yanked so many meows, and I've yanked so many meows, etc. You know what's interesting about this bridge that you're seeing behind me here is that until the 2000s it had a toll on it. Hi, Eliana Diaz. Yeah, well, it's a little wobbly because it's on a bus riding across a bridge. I tried to make it as wobbleless as possible, but you know, I'm not a miracle worker, Eliana Diaz. I'm not a miracle worker, and you're just gonna have to learn to accept that. Your mom's face, though, miracle worker for sure. How about I get rid of the media object? Remove. I'm gonna remove this media source. Goodbye. Oh wow. Whew. Things purportedly should be a lot easier now. Why is this still not working? What else is taking up so much time? So much, yeah. Is it this? Why would that take up so much, yeah? I don't know. Regardless, here we are face to face, just a couple of silver spoons. And we're two of a kind. Let's learn to grind. Something like that. Nothing to infinity. Yeah, we're covering absolutely everything all at once today. Okay, it's not poor anymore, though. It's done with that. It's done being poor. It was poor, but now it's not. Come on. YouTube, stop being... You be poor. You're poor. Stop telling me my stream is poor. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, alright? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you telling me my stream is poor. What's my shirt? It's another. It's not a show I've ever watched, but my dad got me this shirt. It's from an anime, I guess, but I've never seen it. Of course, my dad knows that we watch anime, but he doesn't know really anything more about it. he comes out here and sees us watching these weird Japanese cartoons, and he knows Delilah's into it too, because Delilah and Rachel and I talk about it. And so he got us all anime shirts for Christmas. He also got me a Haikyuu face mask, which I've gotten a lot of compliments on. It's like, it evokes more commentary than anything else I have, pretty much. Everybody like McDonald's, who works at McDonald's, always says, nice mask, because they're all young, you know. Mostly. Or In and Out, or, you know, places like that. So, anywho, I do have a typing at 2 o'clock, which is about an hour and a half from now. Which means I'm going to have to hurry to get through everything all at once, which is my plan. And that's what I'm doing right now. I got some nasty comments this morning, actually. Kind of comments that actually, you know, impact me emotionally a little bit, which is to say, somebody from Franklin Square who I guess had slept with Rachel at some point left some rather nasty comments this morning. Anyway, can you use Voltology to type somebody? Well, look, first of all, Voltology isn't really a thing, okay? What we could say is this. It is the case that some physical displays correlate fairly strongly with some function usage for some types. That is to say, certain physicalities will display over the course of an hour. They can be indicative. That's where Rachel's from originally. The problem with using physical displays, like for example, ENTPs are very move aroundy, especially if they're not accustomed to being in front of the camera all the time like me. I've kind of trained myself to be less move aroundy than I naturally am when I'm on camera. And I'm still pretty move aroundy. So the thing is, there's certain kinds of like ways of readjusting the way they sit. It's where Rachel's originally from. And but there's lots of different cues, and the line between physical display and vocalization style, for example, is fairly blended, which is how a person hums and haws will both have a certain look and a certain sound. So you can use those elements in drawing your own conclusions, but the thing is, you can't use them in justifying your decision, your diagnosis to somebody else. So they're not very useful unless you're just using it for your own purposes to decide what somebody is. And even then, you probably shouldn't trust that too much, because I've had instances where it's misleading, you know. The key point being that it's not a warrant. It's not a justification for a conclusion. Even if it turns out to be a strong correlation, it still doesn't justify the conclusion. Because ultimately, there's no other logic to it that you can cross-index against it, you know? Rachel and I have been together now for... No, he was very disrespectful. I mean, in general, to her and me both. I don't know. It impacts me a little bit because it's like there were enough cues in there at least to make me believe that the guy's legit knows her and so forth. And I don't like to think about, you know, Rachel sleeping with that guy, because I clicked on his channel and it's like he's a hardcore team guy, you know. He's on the Let's Go Brandon team, you know. So he's completely an idiot, and I don't know. It makes me think of ugly thoughts of times before me, which I have no right to judge or anything, but nevertheless, um, that one got me a little bit today. Normally, I don't allow commenters to lease out headspace like that, but that's I guess an area of small defenses. Like, there's nothing I can do to change her path or stop him from exploiting it, right? Except hide him from the channel, which I didn't even do because I stupidly like replied to it, some fucking sputtering lameness. Anyway, I should just fucking hit him and ignored it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can say about it to her really at all, because you know, she's unfortunately not by my purposeful intent, but like she had to meet Capillo at Corey's house the other night. That's not mail, it's just a comment. But anyway, whatever. It was so weird and slabby when we went over to Corey's house that night, that who comes rolling in at some point. Well, yeah, I know Eliana Diaz, but what I'm saying is, this is not an area where I can really do battle, which is to say, there's nothing I could say or it's not a fray I want to get into at all. So I should just have hidden them right away. But anyway, so Rachel had to deal with the fact that Capillo and Liz came rolling in together that night we went over to Corey's house, and then Capillo stole my phone accidentally. So we had to go to her house and pick it up in Temple City. So it's not like, but see, it would almost be better to have it be like that, right? If I actually had to encounter the guy, see him, talk to him for a minute, I'd interpret him as what he is, right? Which is just some fucking scrub, you know. But because of the distance between, because he's able to operate in just comments and stuff. Now he does have some videos up which I didn't watch, but yeah, that's one of those weak spots of me where it's like, it is possible to get in my head or whatever. It is possible to get me via that mechanism if you have personal history with Rachel. But I mean, it's a limited population of people who can do that, right? And you also have to be an asswipe, which the problem with her, you being a super fucking asswipe and having slept with Rachel, is it makes me go, what the fuck? Well, who was Rachel sleeping with, you know? And why? But the thing is, I can't ask that question, or I can't deal with that situation like that at all, because then the guy's just sort of double one. It's like not only has he gotten in my head, but he started a fight between me and Rachel now or something. So it's like that's the sort of thing I invite though when I am super public about my whole life, I guess. Whatever, this too shall pass, as they say. Yeah, that kind of made me sad, or something like that. Made me feel things, I guess, with my emotions, maybe. It's hard to say for sure, but probably is my guess. And of course, I don't like feeling things with my emotions unless absolutely necessary. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about everything all at once. And we're never going to get everything done all at once if we don't get started at some point, right? So we should probably start in on the everything here. All right. Is everybody ready for everything? Do you have your biggest bag open in front of you so I can just dump everything into it? You're having deja vu? Huh. Well, this is what I have to tell you, Club ENTP. If this had really happened before, wouldn't I be having deja vu as well? A little bit of everything all the time versus everything all at once. How about everything that's a little bit of everything all the time, all at once, without stopping forever, constantly re-astonishing us with its glorious newness. Constantly re-astonish me with newness, said the people. I said, okay, I will. I'll constantly re-astonish you with newness. And here I am doing it again. Oh, when I talk about women. Yeah, women are a mystery and confusion and sorrow and sadness and jealousy and, you know, feeling not up to it, I guess. Not up to the challenge. Hi, Sean Ryan Barron. Both are both. Both are both, and neither are neither. But either is either, unless it goes to see Weezer, in which case it should get me a concert shirt. Kevin Garnett told Carmelo Anthony, your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios, and Carmelo was ready to fist fight after the game. Well, did Kevin Garnett actually sleep with Carmelo Anthony's wife? See, that's the key thing, right? if it's just smack talk, but he didn't actually sleep with her, then whatever. But if he actually slept with her, then that's very much fighting words, you know. But there's nothing you can do about it on the internet, and I'm not the fist fighting type anyway. I mean, I don't. What are the newest guidelines, Sean Ryan Barron? I found them lacking in logical consistency and ridiculous from the get-go. Oh well, I mean, the thing is, he like what I'm talking about is a much more concrete thing. It's either that Rachel, it happened before me, in which case it's not really my business, but the person can make accurate statements about her, right? And or if I don't, it's like if they're saying I slept with her while you're with her. Well, I know that's not true. There's no possible way that's true. So, I mean, I don't doubt Rachel's fidelity. But I also don't doubt the veracity that this guy got with her before. So because it's like the way he's from Long Island. He talks about Franklin Square, but calling it FSQ, which is like got to be a local thing, I would assume. And there were lots of reasons to believe he was legit in some sense, right? But it doesn't kill me because I don't know. It's it's something that doesn't really matter. It shouldn't really matter to me, right? Because it happened before I got with her. Oh, well, it's always been that, Sean Ryan Barron. It's always been that. It's always been a bunch of theater that at best temporarily held at bay that which was immediately unleashed again as soon as incredibly controlling and arbitrary. No, I haven't talked to her about it yet. She's in San Diego right now. But it's like the point is, I we can operate under the assumption that part is legit because if it is legit that she slept with him, well, I mean that's not a problem. It's not like I thought she was a virgin before we got together or something, right? So I mean that's what I want. My first question. I mean, that's the first question that pops into my mind too, of course, right? But that's not fair to her, especially after she just had to meet Capillo, and Capillo's really let herself go too. So uh, it would have been perfectly reasonable for her to say, "Did you hit that?" No offense to anybody, but she came in rolling. She was drunk off of her ass and sloppy mess and etc. So um, that's the way the slabs work, though, right? It's like it it ti cornered me with my own realities before this even happened. So then what? Right. No, seriously, she was hot before. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling actually vulnerable. Like, instead of, like, in the sense of, um, like, people can say things, and not much of anything I can say because it's about stuff it's about stuff they did with Rachel that was before I was around, and it hurts maybe, but what can you say about it? You just have to, hide the guy and try to think about it, I guess. So yeah, it makes me feel genuinely vulnerable, and I talk about vulnerability a lot, like as a defense mechanism that being open and undefended is the best defense in a lot of ways. Um, and it is for me because there's very little stuff to which I'm vulnerable that makes me feel actually vulnerable. But this does. And I mean, I know there's nothing to say about it. It's like, she didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. And to the extent that I can think about the matter in any other frame of reference, then I'm doing both of us a disservice. But I don't know. It just sort of made vivid for me parts of Rachel's life that I don't like to necessarily think about, right? there's no. I mean, but at the same time, Sean Ryan, I totally agree with you, Sean Ryan Barron. And yet, 12:47 p.m. What I don't pay rent says, I can't help but want to ask that question, but it's not fair. It's totally not fair question to ask because, you know, like, what am I gonna ask? Am I gonna ask more details than that? Well, how long did it, how many times did you hit it or whatever? Do I really want to go down that road? I don't think so. So, I mean, it's not like Rachel ever indicated to me that she told me every single sexual encounter she had. I know about her relationships that lasted for some stretch of time, but I'm sure she had a few hit it and quit it's. It just makes me sad to think about. And it's nothing, there's nobody to blame except for that guy. And I guess I just brought it up because it was on my mind. Right. Yeah, and it's not like I'm worried that this thing between that guy and Rachel happened while Rachel and I were together at all. That's not remotely a concern of mine. She is very dedicated to me, and I mean, MJ, my more mature self says it's simply an FI thing. It it causes me to feel sadness to think of Rachel with somebody else, and especially in kind of a throwaway, drunken one night stand sense. It makes my feelings hurt with sadness. I don't know what else to say about it besides that, really. I try not to think about it. I don't like feeling sad. Yeah, I love Rachel. This serotonin syndrome's been hard on the relationship, actually, in a certain way. But hard on me, I guess, more than it's fair for it to be hard on me since it's happening to her. This sounds really terrible, but it feels like my car's in the shop. Like, why is it taking such a long time to fix it? Like, it feels like my car's been in the shop for too long. I'm getting annoyed. I want it to be repaired already. Yeah, I think she's feeling. I think she's almost better. But even still, yesterday I got to see her once again struggle to open the car door because her hand is still weak. So it's not all the way better yet. By by the calculations given to me by the state of California, she should be done. She'd be all healed by the 15th. What is today? The 12th. She's got like 3 more days. It'll be 3 weeks. But she seemed a lot better yesterday. She went on the whole trolley tour thing with us. We walked all around, um, and she's just seeming more lively and stuff too. But I'll be able to fully breathe, I guess, when she's fully healed. And I probably won't really be able to breathe until then, you know. Well, she's still got weakness and some bits of numbness in her extremities. It This weakness, numbness, sort of pseudo paralysis thing started in her extremities, her toes and her fingers, and worked its way up. And you know, had it gotten a little higher and high enough up to make her incontinent, she would have definitely had to be hospitalized. Would have been life threatening. So it was close to life threatening. She got it really bad. Um, it's like I mean, basically, she poisoned herself accidentally, but and it's been super stressful because of the weird nature of the thing. It took me a while to recognize how serious it was. She's not been well positioned to give me the information I want because it's eighth slot information for her. And eighth slot, as far as I can tell, is our most unconscious function. I thought of a good definition for unconscious, by the way, which is you don't remember it. So when I'm talking about the NISI potato touch story, I'm talking about remembering both the SI moments and the NI moment of, oh, I got rice pilaf. So I'm able to be conscious enough of both that I can remember both. So I think that consciousness, when we say that somebody's attentional manner is conscious, we say that they remember themselves attending in that fashion, or can. For somebody like ENFJ or ENTJ, maybe the definition would be altered a little bit to say, can provide examples to differentiate between the two kinds of attention. But the thing is, I can differentiate SE. I mean, I can demonstrate SE, but I still can't seem to remember, in any meaningful sense, what the attention is that I direct that causes me to go from not doing something to doing something. So, I mean, I find SE baffling. And, you know, I was asking myself this question in the car. Well, Eric, can you think of an example of a time when you should have taken actual action, but you talked instead? And the answer is yes. That girl I should have kissed back in college. That's what I thought about. But it's hard for me to come up with any other example. Usually it's the other way around. I took too much action when I should have talked more, or more. I should have been more deliberative. Yeah, it's hard for Rachel, I think, in general. Being Rachel, she's an INFJ who's got various problems that preclude her from crafting everyone's perceptions of her as carefully as she'd like. She is compelled by circumstance and reality to be a lot more vulnerable, openly, like not private, than INFJs naturally probably would want to be. But I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I think she trusts me and enough that she's able to believe that I'm ultimately right about the whole transparency thing or something, or she's just willing to make that sacrifice. I'm not sure. Those kind of questions are tough to ask and answer, I guess. Tough to ask, tough to answer. I made and scheduled a bunch of shorts all the way through the 19th, um, hopping up every 6 hours or so. And I'm trying different ideas out for shorts. The thing is, it just seems so. What's the word? Separate. It seems like an entirely separate amusement park from regular YouTube. It's like I put up my shorts. My regular viewers just kind of like, whatever. A few of them watch it and maybe it gets thumbs down or two just because it's a short and whatever. And then days later, I'll find out if it hits the shorts feed or not and gets thousands of views there. I'm not helping by live streaming and talking about it then. I mean, the thing is, this is the one thing, Boba Fett, that she definitely knew and kind of had to accept coming in, was that Eric lives his life in public. And that we have to trust that process if you're going to be with me. And you should trust that process. It's like, there's no way to... There's generally very little way to attack somebody who's not hiding anything, who's not being defensive about anything, right? Who's not defending any secrets or lies or privacies or whatever you want to call them. Because I first and foremost am not presenting anything in affect or in factual reality descriptions that differs from actual reality. So I'm not, in other words, I'm not posturing. I'm not putting on, I'm not showing up in front of you I'm not showing up in front of you in a suit with a cravat and smoking a pipe and pretending I'm some sort of count from Monte Cristo, you know? Karma's Pimp asks, so would you say that fourth slot SE then amounts to a bunch of, damn, I should have acted, but I didn't? Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I would say probably fifth slot SE also does that quite a bit. Whereas, in contrast, I seem to excuse myself for not taking action, even if I know I should have. Like, I know I should invest in Mia, but I'm not doing it because, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I don't have a lot of liquid capital around. I don't need a lot to do what I plan to do, but I just think, well, I'd rather stay a little more liquid right now or something. I don't know. But the point is, I don't seem to get mad at myself for not doing shit I should do. I seem to get much more mad at myself for doing shit too soon, or, not waiting and, not TIing the thing enough before I NE, or not TIing NEing enough the thing before I SE. That's going to make me much more upset. Well, Jeremiah, she does have elevated liver enzymes. And I don't know. It's like being in a relationship is weird. I've never been in a relationship like this one before, where where the problems, to the extent that there are any problems, are so subtle. You know, it's like, I mean, obviously serotonin syndrome's not subtle, but it's not a problem with the relationship. It's a problem with Rachel. You know, actually, the Clonopins help with the serotonin syndrome. They don't aggravate it. So she's still taking those, and she's taking her olanzapine, which also doesn't hurt. But she's not taking her SSRI right now. But the whole thing with Corey's house and everything, it's just so weirdly slabby, and it's connecting of all these different narratives. So there was this moment at Corey's house that night where I realized that, like, Rachel is the missing piece. Rachel is the person that can provide the spark that recreates the magic of that once was, except it's even better because now it's complete. There's a square, kind of, or something. And also, I really felt just this intense sense of love for Rachel that I don't experience directly very often. It's an FI thing. It's not that I don't love Rachel a lot, it's that I don't feel my feelings that much a lot. And I just was really like, oh, wow. It's like I didn't really realize how much I love this woman, and also I didn't realize how useful she's being in ways that nobody's noticing. So it's like Rachel was by far the more deft of the two INFJs there that night, in the sense that she was playing her role perfectly at every moment, and letting Corey do his thing. Corey's a 3, an Enneagram 3, so he likes to show off or whatever. I don't know. He shows off in cool ways, but still, she of course was perfect in playing the role of audience member to somebody showing off, and very receptive to Liz's crazy drunken spewage, listening to her and being cool, you know. Even though there's nobody I could inject into that mayhem that wouldn't go like, what? No, thank you. Because when Liz is drunk, she's a mess. I mean, the BPD, the trauma, the childhood trauma, just is all over her face. This embedded sadness or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but this need for constant reassurance and stuff, but a concurrent denial that she needs any reassurance, you know. So she's a handful. Well, I mean, and that's what happens when you get two of them colliding on on large life arcs. You got Corey and Rachel, two INFJs, colliding along these various large life arcs, right? For me. And it was explosive in lots of ways. It was explosively fantastic, I think, for both me and Corey in some sense. It was explosively revelatory of just how Sasuke Naruto he and I are, with him being Sasuke. Um, he has this deeply embedded need to basically tell me that he's special and I'm not, you know. And the struggles that I'm gonna necessarily have of dealing with that, because like Naruto, I've never denied his specialness, right? I've always understood that what comes hard for me came easy for him in some sense. That he could just kind of know what's good, and I had to, slog through the mud for years and years trying to figure shit out. So I I never disputed that. But in the same fashion, like Naruto and Sasuke, eventually all my hard work pays off, right? And I start growing as a person, being more accurate in my words, basically. Accurate about myself, accurate about the world, accurate about parts of myself that I'm less fluent in mapping and maybe wouldn't be able to map at all if it weren't for cognitive functions. And accurate in my aesthetics so that things I make are not so bad anymore. Sometimes they're really good and sometimes they're kind of mediocre. And, I'll always be hit and miss. I'm not a knower first. I'll always be a buckshot shooting shotgun, but that some pellets hit home and some go flying off in random directions. But regardless, Corey, Corey's undergone his own trauma, which links to being with and staying with somebody who's that traumatized. You get traumatized too. I know because I was in one of those relationships before this one. And it's hard. It's really, really difficult to be in a relationship with somebody who's got BPD. They put all kinds of shit on you. They're totally unfair. They don't listen to you. They won't admit anything. They won't acknowledge anything, so there's no growth. It's like when I tried to I thought I was saying the right thing and being nice and cool and loving the other night at Corey's house, and I said to Liz, hey, it's okay to need lots of reassurance. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And she, I do not need reassurance. I was just like, oh fuck, what a nightmare. And he's dealing with this and also being an INFJ, trying to sort of reconcile with the external world's perceptions of her for decades now. I mean, we just celebrated a big anniversary. I don't know what year it was, but he's shell shocked, deeply shell shocked. I mean, I respect and love him as somebody who chose a course of action. Well, no, I mean, he chose to stay with the mother of his children, and and with a person who very much needs him. And that's the thing. For INFJs, TE is an absolute value in the seventh slot. And so, one thing that Liz provides Corey, although it's in a very unhealthy way, is a continual fountain of him being useful, him being necessary and useful. She's an INFP. She acts a lot different when she's not drinking than when she's drinking, but I rarely, if ever, see her when she's not drinking because, if you're in that dynamic, you got to get out of it, Neon Frog. I was in it too. There's no salvaging that shit. They can't be helped. As far as I can tell, BPD people cannot be helped. The construction phase of the self built in a structural distrust that cannot be fixed. You can't fix things that are just part of who they are. And if their trauma happens when they're young enough and it happens badly enough, then they're fucked up for the rest of their lives. It's horrible. I remember walking out and seeing Liz eating cereal, and her face looked so haggard and worn and burdened by worry and pain. And my heart just went out to her, but No, I got in trouble, Jeremiah fixed, but basically because I guess that's something Corey has said to Liz before, and she's negated when Corey says it. I didn't know that he had said it, but for her, it, um, it resonated with third slot SI. She wasn't anything like that. I don't pay rent. She was neglected. Emotionally, I think. I don't like to even think about it, but it's like, as a good person, you want to help. You think, I can love this person back to wellness. You cannot. You cannot love them enough because the more you love them and the more you earnestly try to get through to them that they're safe because they're loved, the more they will test that to prove you wrong because they've imprinted deeply within them a map that says the more you need somebody, the more important somebody is to you, the more likely or certain it is they will betray you. And, it's like it's a very early life experience of a map territory trauma that violates the prime directive and makes the person so avoidant of being betrayed fundamentally that they can't ever not be betrayed. It's like, look, if there was anybody who had any chance ever of going into a BPD relationship and actually fixing the person, it was me. I was the woman's duel. I had this YouTube channel to help me stay sane because they will gaslight the fuck out of you. Um, I had very good self concept without really much insecurity. And also, I very well knew and clearly knew what being a good relationship partner looks like. And was a good relationship partner to her consistently, even when she was being a bad relationship partner to me, with a few exceptions, because obviously, you get dragged down in the mud some. But despite that, and despite having cognitive functions at my disposal, and despite being able to express things in a million different ways to try to get through to somebody, the fundamental problem was this. Kimberly, I could not get her, no matter what I said or did, to actually listen to me and work with me. And the reason is because what I was really saying to her is, first, trust me enough to listen to me. But that's what she couldn't do. She couldn't trust. And I banged my head against that wall for 2.5 years. It's like the a strip of the furry part of Velcro has no furry part on it. No matter how much you push the other part on it, it's not going to stick. It needs the furry part to stick. I keep trying to push trusting, like, make this trust thing stick. It can't stick. There's no fur on her Velcro. You know? So, unfortunately, I don't have that situation in my current relationship. I don't have any real problems in my current relationship, just imaginary ones. It also sort of makes me realize how selfish I am. Like, I'm annoyed at the fact that, like I said earlier, like, my car's in the shop more than I'm thinking about Rachel's horrible experience that she's enduring. Which just makes me feel like a horrible person, but I don't know, that's just how I am, I guess. I'm just a horrible person. Is BPD on a spectrum of toxicity? I mean, sure, I guess. I guess it can express more or less severely. But, Liz never has Well, okay, that's not true. Liz has this schizophrenic narratives about Corey. Half the time she shits on him, but or most of the time she just shits on him. But if you say anything like, "Yeah, I guess he does do that," then she'll suddenly switch gears and be like, "No, he doesn't," because then you're saying something bad about him instead of her, you know. And it's like, okay, you're a big bag of nuts, is what you are, you know. Well, the thing is, Neon Frog, if you're experiencing what I experienced in the BPD relationship, you're experiencing a person who's trying to rewrite your self concept and your personal history. So Kimberly made a strong effort to do both. And you know, she was largely successful in the first part of it, at least when I was around her. So when I started out the relationship, I was very chatty. I was just myself, same Eric you see here, making jokes, saying things, whatever. But because Kimberly had this habit of, if something could be exploited to shit on me or hurt me or take me down a notch, she generally would use it as such. So if I made a joke that wasn't perfect, I'd get made fun of, teased, or in some other way verbally abused. And gradually I stopped saying things. I stopped making jokes, I stopped making observations, I stopped explaining things, and I was just silent around her all the time because she had successfully trained me that it wasn't safe to be myself. Now, I was still myself on the internet. I had that to save me. I went online and I'd say, "This is what's happening to me. It seems like it's bullshit," and then people would say, "Yes, it's definitely bullshit." and then I get back into the flow of, yeah, I mean, she made, yeah, basically she made everything shitty. Like I explained back then, and I've explained since, when I was with Kimberly, I lived in a world in which the best I could ever do was get to closer to 0 points from negative points. And there was no winning anything, right? If I completely was absolutely perfect, I just escaped critique, maybe. Maybe. But I'd probably get critiqued for trying to be too perfect or something. So, when you live in that world where you're always in negative numbers, and the best you can do is get closer to 0, you need out of that world pronto. Because now I live in a world where, you know, we're both on the same page about the notion that life, me, the channel, etc., Rachel too, are moving forward towards more meaningful and better and more interesting and whatever else expressions of ourselves and experiences. So, in other words, I operate in a positive sum world now where I get credit for good things and slack for failure, which is, much better than the alternative. It's much better than the opposite, anyway. It's like, yeah, we can all shit on each other all the time. And you want to be in a relationship where the kind of things that you can be easily shit on are not things that the other person feels like shitting on. And vice versa. Yeah, she's on my team. We're on the same page. And that's very important to me. And of course, that's probably why it kicks me in the feels to get those comments today, because it's like you're accustomed to them being your teammate and thinking of them as your teammate and them being exclusively your teammate, and things from the past fading into less and less significance the longer you're together, and your identities being more tied to each other exclusively than to even yourself as an individual to a certain extent. Then when somebody from the past comes out and, you know, says things that indicate having had top level access, you might say, top level physical access to Rachel, that it sort of knocks you out of that comfortable orbit. It makes you think about things you shouldn't have to think about once you're into that comfortable orbit. But that's life as a YouTuber. That's the package deal I purchased when I decided to be a YouTuber. Especially the world's most public and transparent YouTuber. I can show you the world, Neon Frog. Wondrous, sprawling, and lovely. Flying around on this carpet. It's a magic carpet ride. A whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes. Neon Frog, I'm serious. Don't you dare close your eyes. Okay, you're going to miss some of the excitement if you do. Yeah, Rachel's definitely on my team. And just, a great partner. Just a great companion. We're really comfortable chilling, hanging out together. We don't have conflicts with each other. It's impossible to even have a conflict with her, really, because it's like, if I'm mad at her about something, I already know and can tell that she's more mad at, if it's legit at all, that she's more mad at herself and beating herself up more about it than I ever could, and that I don't want to, like, when somebody's already suffering, you don't want to rub salt in their wounds. So, was what a Kitty song? Whole New World? I don't know. I did. Here's a pet, here's a pet, here's a pet to rest your neck. Here's a pet. I did that one. I don't know if I did Whole New World or not. I could do one other song from Aladdin, like, oh. Prince Ali, ability, available, regular men, he ran around rainbow, 100 bad guys with swords. He's got meow 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 meow, and meow 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 meow. He's got meow 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 meow. Mega meow meow mega meow 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 meow. Well, we'll see what happens with the last Kitty songs I uploaded, which were several. I did I think it was guilty hands have got no petting, perhaps. I'm never gonna pet again the way I pet my cat. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. You know that part of that song? You know it. You know it. Don't deny it. You know that part of that song. What else did I do recently? I did. She's the kind of cat when you pet makes you sorry, still you don't regret a single day. I think I did that one. And then the third one I did as well. I'm waiting to see if any of them hit the shorts feed. That TE Polar versus everyone else video, that one hit the shorts feed. Even though it was like channel specific in terms of its topic. And it's doing pretty well. Let me take a look at the old number of Roonies and give you an update as to how things are going. A whole new world. It's a whole new world around here, let me tell you. Why is it a whole new world? Because thanks to these stupid shorts, last month or so, for the first time ever, I attained 100,000 views in a month. What? Yeah. 100.5 thousand views. 118% more views than usual. A 100,000 views in a month. That's not bad. You know, that's not bad. But if you look at my top videos in this period, What's the Matter with the Cat I'm Petting is a short, 3,800 views. Many Bees, Few Bees is a short, 2,400 views. FNAF, It's Been So Long Kitty is a short, 1,900 views. Did You Know Czechoslovakia is a short, 2,000 views. Just a Small Town Cat is a short, 1,700 views. Her Name is Kitty and She Needs a Lot of Pets is a short, and it's got 1,500 views. Petting My Cat Now is a short, and it's got 1,500 views. Number 8, I Can Show You Some Pets. I can show... Oh, yeah, I did do that. I can show you some pets. I did. So that one is number 8, 1,400 views in the last month. Pet My Cat Again, number 9, also a short. Pet my cat again. I can't wait to pet my cat again. Fly Me to the Cat is number 10, also a short, 1,400 views. So the thing is, those videos get so many more views. But the thing is, I don't know what to think about those things. Okay, so this one, this TE Polar one, is now at 1,600 views. And it's still kind of going up a little bit. At a rate of, well, at its biggest hour, it had 234 views from 7 to 8 a.m. this morning. Now it's down to, like, from 12 to 1, it was 36. The hour before that, it was 35. 25 before that. 31 before that. And then 1:48 the hour before that. And then 2:34 the hour before that. 2:21 the hour before that. 1:14. 1:27. 1:29. 1:25. 10. So at 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., this thing hadn't really hit the shorts feed yet. And then at 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., all of a sudden it had 125 views. 4 a.m. to 5 a.m., 127 views, you know. So now it's gone back down again. It's at 20 for now from 1 to 2, but that means probably around 40 because it's only 1:30. So that's for that TE Polar trash can video. I thought that was going to be a good video. I thought it would be successful, but I didn't know really whether it was going to hit the shorts feed or not. So basically, I'm averaging, when you average together all the hours, about 100 views an hour, it seems like, total on all my videos. But today, 7 to 8 a.m., I had 428 total views. in 1 hour. That's pretty good. I don't know. Who cares, I guess, right? What difference does it make? It doesn't really make any difference. So what? A lot of people see my little shorts. What does that mean? Nothing. They're not like they're saying anything. And I currently have yet to be published 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shorts. So still to be published. They're scheduled. You can't see because they're not scheduled for premiere. They're just scheduled. Including Surrender Wealth to Zoltar. Surrender Wealth to Zoltar is a good one. Also including such incredible hits as I Smell Pets and Kitty and Wait for It, What's Inside. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. Interviewing the Couch. You can't wait for that one. Sun is setting at 3:30 p.m. I enjoy offering cigars. So many things. See how my demonology videos. Wow, look at that. 9 likes for my demonology video. And 40 views. That's pretty good. That was a pretty good freestyle. And what's funny is, now that's a stylish place to sit. This is a video of me filming a chair and saying, now that's a stylish place to sit. Suddenly hit the shorts feed. Now it's got almost 1,000 views. It's a 5-second video of me filming a chair and saying, now that's a stylish place to sit. I mean, really? That's what success is? I guess so, That's called the beauty of success. I'm living the dream. Yeah, I interviewed the couch. I got an exclusive. And what he told me was this. That he'd long complained that nobody ever asked his opinion about anything. But now that I've asked him, he realizes he doesn't really have an opinion about anything. So I was kind of surprised by that. If that's a stylish place to sit, now that's a stylish place to sit, it can get 1,000 views in a few hours. Anything can, right? I mean, obviously it matters how you put the short together. You got to make it so that people let it go around a couple times. Shorter shorts, therefore, kind of have an advantage. But, and the TE Polar video versus everybody else, that's a really good one for a short because it's got a verbalized concept and a very concrete visual demonstration of the same concept in a way that makes people go, oh, because probably some people who watch it think to themselves, what would I do before I actually lift up the ring, So it's perfectly designed for a short and easy to make and blah, blah, blah. There's something super appealing to me about it because of its NI-ishness. And at the same time, there's something kind of like, oh, come on, you guys, about it too. Because I never watch shorts. It's like, why would I watch shorts? I watched one that I enjoyed. Sometimes I'll watch them from my phone and they just pop up on the front page for the one I enjoyed was like some guy in a fancy car was throwing things out of his window, and some guy with a broom and a scooper thing was just going along scooping them up as the guy threw them out. And then this muscly guy grabbed the guy's scooper thing and dumped it into the car. And the guy inside the car was going to get out, but he looked at the guy and was like, nah, never mind, I'm not going to mess with this guy. So I thought that was kind of enjoyable. That was a short I enjoyed. Why is it good? What about it do you know is a factor that makes it a good video in particular? You mean the TE one? Well, like I said, it's primarily that it encompasses one very complicated concept in very few words and then demonstrates it very concretely in a way that both allows a person to be presented with a problem, sort of be forced to try to solve it themselves just by watching it, and then be presented with the solution that probably surprises a fair number of the parties involved, at which point they're going to want to go back and hear the words again, because once again, although there are a few words, they convey a complex concept. If they're not familiar with MBTI at all, they may be like, what is this TE polar? What? And maybe listen to it 5 times to see what I'm saying because they've never heard the term before. And that's going to help it succeed as a video. Ultimately, your shorts need to be above 100% watch time if you're going to be really successful with them. So, but the thing is, you don't have to necessarily do something like that. My most successful short ever is a silly joke I made in the line at the pharmacy, in which I say a sentence which basically says, "Don't listen to people who repeat themselves," but I say it in a really repetitive way. Kind of an obvious joke, kind of just throwing something up there, but it got like 10,000 views. So the thing is, I'm full of quips. If quips can get me views, then I mean, I got quips coming out of all my orifices. I'm as quippy as you get. Back in school, they used to call me Quippy Quippers because I was so quippy. You want glib? I can be glib. And the great thing about shorts is, if you don't show yourself on the camera, people have to deal with the short on its merits rather than based on who the YouTuber is at all, you know? If you know nothing about Eric and you just see these kitty videos, you never see Eric, then you don't judge Eric's big beard and missing teeth and other irrelevancies. Just about everything in the world is nicer to look at than Eric, so shorts are good in that fashion. I can just show something other than me and say some words, and it's great. I got this really cool video at the beach where I had the sun right behind the palm tree, the last palm tree beach, the last palm tree towards the ocean. So in other words, from that palm tree to the ocean, there's nothing but sand. The palm trees can no longer grow in the sand any further than that. There's the last palm tree before the ocean, and the sun is like right behind it, and then I go down the palm tree, and I guess I'm singing some little song about the winter day at the beach or something, and then I pan a little bit over here and show some like beach volleyball for a second, and I figure, you know, you got to edit it to make sure it loops well, but when it does loop well, I figure, hey, you know, somebody on the East Coast living in January with snow and stuff and coldness, they might find that nice to look at, you know. And maybe that's enough to get it to, and the song is pleasant and not in your face or anything, just sort of a nice, oh, that's nice kind of thing. So maybe that'll make some people happy. I don't know, and then they'll watch it a few times, and then it'll be successful as a short. I'm just trying out a bunch of random shit, see what happens. I'm really interested to see what happens to the short that I designed specifically as an endless loop. It says basically, wait for it, it's about to happen, let it go around again. wait for it, it's about to happen, let it go around again. Something like that, you know. So, I also want to do one that says, after you let this loop 21 times, something exciting will happen. Just wait and find. After you loop 20, and see if people let it go for 21 times to see if something exciting happens. Of course, nothing else will happen, but it's a lie. I'd be lying in my short, but it would be it's a white lie. Okay, it's a white lie. That means it's a lie that white people tell to native people that they plan to forcibly convert to Catholicism. It's a lie that sounds like this. You savages are gonna love it under our rule. You know what I always say? Don't knock smallpox till you try it. We're not just conquistadors. We're conquistadors. We're here for you to learn to civilize yourself off of. We're here to horror our civilized ways. Don't just think of us as your conquistadors. Think of us as your conquistadors. That's right. We don't just conquer and enslave. We also educate you in the ways of Jesus. You know, it could be as simple as this, right? You focus on, like, I don't know, a squirrel or something, or a peacock, or a rock, or a flower that's blowing a little bit in the breeze or something. Something like that, you know? And you go, I forgot what I was. That's what I get for disclaiming. Stupid Eric. Let this loop for 20 times and share it with friends 8 or 9. Then you'll experience super good luck. Now let it go around. Sounding pluck. I don't know. I like the idea, though, of this short is a magical incantation. Let it loop 20 times and experience a wonder. Share it with friends for additional benefits. You know, that sounds like the kind of video that everybody can enjoy. I've got to start to do a typing in just 12 minutes, so I think it may be time for us to start this episode finally. We've been just sort of chatting here, waiting to get started. Maybe now it's time to get started. So, okay, now it's the beginning. We've got only like 11 minutes till I have to go, but you know it's the beginning because you can hear that the beginning music has started. Right now it's just one kick drum with some kind of pitched bass mixed into it. It seems to come around perhaps once every 16 bars, not that often. So, infrequently spaced kick drum means we're still at the very, very, very beginning of the show, where it's like it doesn't even have a regular beat yet. You can't even begin to try to rap over this. It's just spaced too far apart, you know. No, it's not a live typing. It's a regular session. I just got to go and do the Google Meet and stuff. But I just figured since it's almost time to go, I should probably start the show. And if you know anything about talking with famous people, you know at least 2 things. You know, 1, we never talk with any famous people. And 2, it's always the beginning of the show. Welcome to the beginning. Aren't you glad you got here on time? This is the beginning of the show. Aren't you glad you got here on time? I'm telling you now. Welcome to the show. It'll be fun for you if you listen to me. And what you do is you chat and I'll read it and see what you said to me. You could say some things about stuff that will make me angry. And then enough I'll say, You shut up because you're bad and you're making my day so suck. And I wish that everybody would be nice, but I guess to make that wish true, I'd have to twice be nice myself as well. And I never am, so hell, what am I going to do about that? It's the beginning of the show. Don't get up and go, it's still the beginning, the very beginning of the show. Please don't get up and go yet. Now, oh, wow, listen to that, that's loud. What kind of a sound is that? Oh, that's the alarm, sorry. It means there's a fire. Can everybody please line up and exit the building in an orderly fashion? That's our fire alarm. Hopefully, I'm sure it's just a false alarm, but just in case, we should probably... Okay, yeah, it was just a false alarm. Never mind, everybody come back. It was just a false alarm. It turned out to just be a false alarm. I guess that's the end of it. So there you go. It should start over. I would have expected, but it didn't. Okay, well that'll bring us to the end of today's show. Now that we've completed the beginning, there's nothing good left, since the beginning is the only good part. So you know, I'm not gonna ask them if they want to do it live because that would interrupt or interfere with my ability to do a good job. I can't both do a good job and incorporate people's meows. It just won't work. I am limited in that fashion. Alright, so goodbye. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. I'm going to eat a quick granola bar before this thing because I feel all of a sudden faint from lack of calories. And maybe I'll catch you all on the proverbial flip-flop. Alright? I'm sure I will. As to exactly when that will be is hard to say.